Welcome to From Time to Time, where we look back at the days of our past in order to change the days of our future. Today, we will be discussing topics like the black vote, immigration, drugs, the rise of teen violence, and Juneteenth. I know I'm excited to unpack and get the different perspectives of our guests. I have in here the studio with me today Casey Prince, Aaliyah Yasmin, James Williams, Eric McCants, Stephen Williams, and myself, Keith Tillman. So let's get into it. First topic is voting. I'll pass it to the elder, James. What's your take on should blacks keep voting with nothing in return?
No,
Tell me why.
because all they do is make promise they never fulfill. Only time they show interest is when time is time to vote.
Every
Then
4
after that,
years.
they forget about it. Every 2 years or 4 years, it's the same old, same old. And the politicians, they work for the corporation at the end of the day. You could just say this and that. If you don't got the money, it don't even matter.
So it's all about the money to
It's
get the
all
vote.
about the money. Money and power.
How do you feel, Denise?
I pretty much agree with James. Um, Even when we vote for our council people in our neighborhoods, it's like you can see that there's not much of a difference in the neighborhoods. It's still, I can speak for my neighborhood. My neighborhood is filled with garbage everywhere, drugs. You can still see needles. You're finding all types of things. Every once in a while, they bring the police trucks to clean up, and it's right back the same way it was the day before.
It's just a cycle.
Yeah, it's like a cycle. They for the vote, they'll clean it up real quick, and then right after the vote, they forget about the communities. Even the small votes.
Create a good image for themselves and,
And after that, it's over. You don't hear from them. You don't see them. You don't know who they are or how to contact them. Well, you know,
what is your take, Brother Steve?
Personally speaking, I haven't voted since Obama ran the second time. While I agree we as a people shouldn't vote, it's for a different reason. A lot of us tend to vote and think that's it.
No work done
We
after.
vote for somebody and we think that they're going to answer all our problems and not realizing that that's just the first step. Because you have people, for instance, I lived in Brownsville 16 years. Everybody knew Charles Barron, but nobody held him accountable. Nobody said, well, I'm going to run against him and expose him for what he's done and what he's not doing and be the person that y'all need. No, instead, everybody just kept voting for Charles Barron, Charles Barron, Charles Barron. And
Why
then
did
you
you think
wonder
that
why
happened?
Brownsville is the way it is.
Why do you think the community kept voting for him with nothing
Because it was
happening?
comfortability. We knew him. He came to the train stations.
Familiar faces.
He gave out turkeys for Thanksgiving. Oh, he gave back to school book bags. But yet and still you got the cops roughing the kids up. You got the kids not having anything to do. Nobody's holding them accountable for that because before you can get to the president, before you can get to the governor, before you get to the mayor, you have to get to the people in your community. And if you're not doing that, then don't get involved at all. Just sit down and watch the world burn. Period.
Being a fellow member of Brownsville, what is your take, Prince?
He said it, but I agree. I agree with what Brother Steve said. I also believe vote smart. So I
What do
don't
you
want
mean
to say
by that?
everything he said, but it's like know who you're voting for. Know what you're voting about also, because like he said, I grew up in that Charles Barron. Bro, that was like the highest murder rate in Brownsville in my generation, and I mean left and right. You know, like you step out your building, you're stepping over somebody. But at the same time, I do see other parts of Brooklyn developing as I do see Brownsville developing out of what it was, which was like the Flintstone era when we were growing up Stone Avenue, Hopkinton Street. It's not that Brownsville anymore, but it still could use some improvement. But back to the voting subject, it's like, yeah, I think we should vote. You have to buck the system on one side, because to do nothing, you can't say nothing. You didn't do anything. What you talking about? It's like the dude who's at the fight, but he's at the fight. He's not fighting, but he just had to fight. He's like, y'all was getting
On
it
the
in, bro.
sidelines.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think we have to be involved.
How do you think we could vote smarter?
I mean, research and studying. Our phones are like, we like Spider-Man with our phones. You know what I'm saying? We could pop it out, it's in our wrist as soon as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, TikTok, and blah, blah, blah. But we won't Google. And I can't stand people say, oh, you can't trust Google. No, you can't trust Wikipedia. You can trust Google. It's a search engine. You look through other things on Google and you find those things, and You read about them.
So you think we should be voting for policies and not personalities?
Quality of living. Yeah, so policies. Because you would, I disagree with stop and frisk. I grew up in that era. That was crazy.
I'm sorry, I don't.
No. I was going to get around to it, bro. I was going to get around to it where it's needed. I got
Right.
called an Uncle Tom, which is the wrong thing to call a person. We're not going to get into that. But it's just like, it has to be controlled because if there's no rules and no structure, there's mayhem. Then you have Brownsville, which is no rules and no structure, which is mayhem.
What is your take, Aaliyah?
Well, personally, I think that a lot of the reasons why things don't go the way we want it to go when we vote is because we're not unified. And I believe only unity is going to set us free.
How can we show
And-
some unity voting?
Well, getting together, understanding what we all need, understanding what our communities need, and that starts with what our children need, and what our mothers need. All these things matter, and all these things are connected. And until we understand that, we have to become unified. So when we go to vote, we are all voting collectively. Understanding that collectively, we know this person who we're voting for understands that they're the only ones getting our vote, because we are the ones who gauge the times. We are the ones who sway everything. Everything comes from us. So we have to understand that first and foremost. So it's not about even the politician. It's about us
We have
as a
to acknowledge
community
our power.
and as a people. That's my opinion.
Can I?
Speak,
Can I
brother.
chime in on that? Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm feeling what the sister said,
I feel a butt coming on.
but this system, how do we? This system is designed to put dynamite into our unity. We can't unite if the system is how can I put it?
Playing you against each other.
Burning down, playing us against each other, burning down
Black
everything.
Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
Yeah. They make
It's
sure that we
like
do not
if we can't get unity because we've been oppressed so long that to us, everybody, if every black man, woman, and child would grab hands, we might have a chance. But it's always somebody, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing it this way. I'm doing it that way.
You have something to add to that,
I want to
Mr. Ness?
piggyback on that and say that, and with that comes where you can look at the smart voting. Choose as a community, as unified people, choose who we want to see up there, who we need, who knows, like the sister was saying, who meets our best interest. We pick our person. We put them up on the ballot,
assign
and
our own
we vote
leaders.
for them. That I would call smart voting.
Yeah.
How many
If I may,
Last topic.
to me, and I can only speak for myself, the problem is people focus more on voting than the census.
What do you
And the census is where the power is. Think about it. We have an election every time. Win, lose, or draw, nothing changes. People didn't come out for the census. How much money did New York lose?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact.
And so when you talk about smart voting, no, before you get to the voting, let's handle the census so that you know who's here, why they're here,
Right.
where they're at, what they want. So that way, when you step up and you say what you're here for, now when it's time for smart voting, we're holding you accountable. Because at the end of the day, it has to be some type of accountability. That's what the census do. And because so many people said, I'm not doing it, look how much money we lost.
That's what I had something to say.
Brother James?
Dealing with the census, right? We ever since we've been in this country, we have always been undercounted anyway. So we really can't go by that.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I'm 54 years old, and I was born in 1969, and I'm sure in 1969 they had us at 13% of the population. Now we're 14% of the population. There's a brother named Mustafa Hafni. He was an Egyptian, right? He came here. He was a black Egyptian. When he came, they told him he had
He was
to
a white
call
Amer-
himself a
white
Caucasian.
Egyptian.
He said, "No, I'm a black Egyptian." See, because it's a fact that they can never replace us, because we've been on the planet Earth before they even thought they Johnny come late first and foremost.
What is influencing the preteens to start killing each other killing each other so much now? I remember when I was young, they were more focused on the I guess the 18-year-olds, they were afraid of them hurting each other. But now on the news, I see 12, 13-year-olds. They're getting younger and younger. What do you think is the influence on that?
Gang culture.
It's
Hold on, let's start with Brother Eric.
Gang culture. Once that spread throughout the country,
They're getting them
yo,
younger and younger.
and I definitely, growing up, was against the stop and frisk. But like this brother right here, the brother Steve, I'm kind of for it now, especially on the subways. They're wilding. It don't even make no sense. The last 3 shootings we had on the subways, the suspects were under 25 years old.
No class, no couth this generation. For real.
But
And
see,
a whole grown-up
the
man got
thing is,
shot and killed down on a train trying to break up a fight over some loud music. It's everybody got this gangster thing where, you know, they don't understand though. You know, this generation of kids don't understand what being a real gangster is. They don't understand that being a real gangster is taking care of your family.
because
raising
that's
your
not what
children
real
properly.
gangster is portrayed. Like, I mean, if we're going to talk, let's talk honestly.
Is that
In
being
our-
promoted from
us in
gangsters?
our hood, we respect the brother who went to jail and came home more than the young man who got all straight A's and went to school.
That's right.
Well, I feel like I've heard
Soft
that
and
before.
soft parenting is the #1 issue, because I'm pretty sure for the most part all of us sitting here had a parent who wasn't scared to put foot to our tail.
grew up in a
And we
neighborhood
don't
like
have that now.
For real.
We don't
I grew up in a
have
neighborhood
parents
like
that go in their children's room and go in their dresser drawers. Now the whole thing is, as long as he's not hurting anybody, but you don't know what he's hurting because you're not out there with him when he's doing what he's doing to be social media famous.
Exactly.
We're soft. It's a lot of soft parenting and soft
And
stepping.
I think, in my opinion, it's less about soft parenting. I think they created the soft parents when they took the rights away from the parents.
But they can't take your
And-
rights away from you
No,
and your
no,
children.
no,
They
but
can't
let
activate
me-
anything until you open that door.
But what I'm saying is this, though.
Yeah,
But
but if
hear
you
me
smack
out,
the
though.
shit out your child and they go to the police or they come from school,
And
they
all
go
right,
back to the
okay,
school
and
and go, my father
I'm gonna
did this.
personally
I'm going to
disclose.
jail,
I'm gonna-
bruh.
And so,
Hold on,
I'm going
one
to
at a
personally
time, one
share
at
a
time.
story. I have 5 children. Excuse me. My daughter was in charter school, and let me just say, charter school is not all that you think it is.
Right.
It's setting our children up for something that you don't know about. One thing it does is stopping your children from being children. Certain things your children need to do and experience in growing up, and it takes away. Do you know in charter school for the first 2 weeks they can't talk in a cafeteria during breakfast or lunch?
yeah, the military. It's a militarized
Right.
schooling.
So now,
and it's a money
so
grab.
now keep that in mind.
It's a militarized money grab. It's nothing
My
about
daughter-
schooling.
I go through her text. She's talking crazy.
What do you mean by that?
The conversation she was having was a crazy conversation that her at her age should not be having.
Inappropriate
And I disciplined her
conversation.
for it. I'm sitting in the house. We get a knock on the door. It's ACS. Because her friend decided to tell them, oh, her dad went crazy. And I told the cop and I told the ACS, yes, I'm going to do that. You know why? Because we live in Brownsville, where there are a rapist in almost every building, where there are people, there's children being missing in every building. And I'm going to do what I got to do to keep my child out of there. You know what they told me? Have a good day, Mr. Williams. Just make sure I don't send her to school next time. See, we want to give away our power instead of holding on to it.
Standing your ground.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just want to piggyback off that because I remember when my daughter was acting a crazy person on the train, and I gave her a spanking off the train, and then this lady told me I was abusing her, and it was in the Bronx, and the police station was there, and so I'm gonna tell the police. I said, you tell whoever you want to tell. So by the time the police came to the platform, my daughter's sitting there swinging her legs and smiling. And she was calling me. And I said, what did you think was going to happen? I said, she want me to not discipline my picnic and then you can go and shoot my picnic and it's all good? I said, no, sir. That's my child. I will discipline my child as I see fit. She is not harmed. She is not hurt. And that was that. You know, so we have to not be so afraid to discipline. The Most High said,
be
spare the
parents
rod,
still.
spoil the child.
Yeah, because what
That's
they teach
that.
them in school is what they're gonna teach them in school. They don't set them up to succeed as a young, thriving, law-abiding citizen as a black person. You have to wait till they come home and teach them who they are, because they don't teach them
Give
who
them
they
a
are in
second
school.
talk.
They do that.
So there's a balance.
I handled that
You
totally.
can't just give your kids to a school
I handled that
and
totally
think that they're going to learn morals, respect, accountability, yes, no, right from wrong from a school. They're not going to learn.
Because that's
that
the
in
truth.
school.
What the brother said in the charter school, my daughter didn't, I have one daughter, she didn't go to the charter school. He said that the first 2 weeks, you couldn't even speak. I was up north in the prison system. In that cafeteria, you can't speak. The police are walking around you. If you speak, they take you on the outside and they deal with you. Same system. That's why I say it's systematic. It goes
Prison
back
to
to the
pipeline.
votes. It goes, yeah.
But the thing about it is that we as parents, because you have to remember, every parent is the first teacher.
Yep.
Right.
It's all how you equip your children when you go to school. My children, because of their names, they already had a strike against them when they went to the school. My son, when they seen him, big black boy, now he has another strike. My daughters, they know who they are. They know who you are. So that creates another strike. But if you prepare your children well enough, you know, they're going to stray from some lessons, as children do. That's what children do. But for the most part, the ones to keep them steady, to keep them foundation solid, they won't step away from that no matter what they try to teach them. I've had my son come and they was trying to teach them sexuality. And he came and
very
he
young age.
right, and he said, Dad, they were trying to teach us about sexuality. And I said, and what did you do? He said, I got up and I went to the bathroom and I stayed in the bathroom because I know that's not a lesson I'm supposed to be learning right now.
In school.
Exactly.
Are we allowing?
Right,
That
that
comes
comes
from
from
him.
And you know what's crazy though? That's when you get the most fight back from the schools, when your kids take information from your
Yes.
Yeah.
to the school.
And listen to you.
Oh, nah, oh, you're not supposed to do this. I had to explain to a teacher, I get less time for beating you up than I get time for hitting her. So you want her to mess up and I come here and I beat you up? We can do that. I said I handle that totally different. And I mean like with all seriousness, because I had to look at this like I pay for that, I pay for them weaves, I pay for them Jordans, I paid for this school for her to come here. And then you're gonna tell me I don't get to, as a father, as a black male, I look to say like I don't it's not your job, sis.
Are we as parents in the black community holding ourselves accountable as parents, or are we just
No.
More frequently in this generation, I
No.
would say yeah. I see more fathers in this
I don't
generation.
think that
No.
Social media.
There's a
Used to.
there's a
One at a
difference
time,
between
one at a
being
time.
active and holding someone accountable.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I didn't even want to do it, but I was PTA president in my daughter's school.
That's right.
Felt weird
why did you feel weird?
because as the PTA president, like no, that treasurer, security, not the
Facts.
anyway. So one of the things was fundraising. We did a bake sale. Now this money goes towards the children, the ones who are graduating, and everyone else. All we ask you to do is bring a cake, a box of donuts. You don't have to make it. Food Bazaar's right there. We only received 1 pound cake
Why do you think that is?
because people. If y'all see me, y'all can take it up with me. Parents nowadays look at schools as the new age babysitters. They just want to drop the children off so they can get back to whatever they were doing.
And give them all responsibility to raise their child.
Right. I picked my daughter up. I asked her, "What did you learn today?" Another parent looked at me and was like, "Why would you ask them that?"
What?
Because I want to make sure that she's learning.
That's deep.
They out there.
Yeah.
And they are out
Parents
there.
gotta ask you that.
I
We're gonna
think
go
it's
to our
a-
last
Yeah.
speaker,
Take
then we're
it
gonna
out.
change topics.
I think that has to do again with generation as well. When we were growing up, that
right.
was out of the question.
Out of the question.
Out of the question. There was no. I remember for facts that if my mother came down to the school and she did her business on me in front of everybody, and in my elementary school there was a paddle in the principal's office that the principal
Everybody
could
knew it.
use on said child who was acting up inside of the class. Let that happen today. Child services being called.
You know the kid is fighting the principal.
Yeah.
And it's going viral because 3 kids are gonna have their phones out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
See,
great
back then and nowadays, it wasn't no record nothing. It wasn't none of that.
Does anybody think there's an agenda letting in people from all these different countries and allowing them to vote
Yes.
all right off the bat?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's a duh.
Yeah, because they
Push your
know
takes.
they know that the people here are waking up, as they want to call it. I hate that concept of woke because some people are just they appear woke, but they're still zombies. But people are becoming fashionably aware of politics. So now you have to get the people who are happy to be here because we are no longer happy to be here.
Right.
Like we
So-
know now.
We're being replaced.
Right.
They know we
Pretty
not,
much.
They know we're not rushing to the army.
Yeah,
They know
look,
we're not
look,
rushing to the Marines.
oh, look
got
in the
phone
hood. Look where they're putting them. They're not putting them in the safe neighborhoods. They're putting them in our neighborhoods. You walk by hotels now in Brownsville, you see military. You know that's not a place that you can go stay. Yeah.
Topic 3, drugs and honey packs. Why are all our corner stores closing down and smoke shops being built on every block? I'll start with you, Brother Prince.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I feel like our government figured out a way to cut into our natural resource. I wouldn't call it a natural resource. I'm saying in the hood, because everybody knows a weed man. You have one of your buildings. There's one up the block. There's one down the block.
So it was a local distribution for us that they took over.
So that guy they're now trying to X that guy out and cut in on his business, which legalization of weed set that up, of course. So, and the reason they're popping up in our neighborhoods so much is because there's none of us actually buying the stores to use them for other things. It's nothing but empty space and vacant rental areas in the areas that we frequent. So of course they're going to throw a smoke shop here. In the next 3 or 4 blocks is another smoke shop, and the next 4 or 5 blocks is another smoke shop, because nobody's actually occupying that with, like, let's say Whole Foods or healthy food stores, or just something, an alternative store to anything, a clothing store. You know what I mean? And I don't think, like, plus our community isn't really complaining about them things being there.
I think that's the biggest problem. We're not complaining about all the smoke shops opening up. What do you say, Denise?
I was thinking along the same lines that you were. It's a matter of supply and demand. They see that we're supplying ourselves with it. They want to take that away from us. They want to capitalize off of it, of course. And I was also going to say that the stores are coming because they're not putting healthier stores. Exactly what you were going to say. So I'm of agreement. I don't have much more to say than that. I agree 100%.
Pass it to Brother Steve.
I have a different thing. I actually worked at one of the dispensaries. First and foremost, we got to understand we aren't the originators and pioneers of weed.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that white people was hippies and smoking way before us. Dispensaries in Las Vegas
Everybody
and all
smokes
across the
weed.
West Coast way before it got here.
Okay.
Why I think it's happening on every corner is for the same reason why you have so many Asian businesses, why you have so many Indian businesses, because of the incentive to open a business in our neighborhood.
The capitalism on
Right.
black people.
Now, we're going back to the unity concept. If we as people, because you can't open anything in the Jewish neighborhood without their okay. And if you try, they're going to shut it down. We don't do that. Instead, we go for the shiny nickel. Ooh, it's a new store. How many weed spots you need? Y'all all selling the same weed.
Facts.
Is it our community because we live there? Or is it their community because they own the places that are in their community?
It's theirs.
So this isn't ours. We just vacate here.
No. Jewish neighborhood, that's theirs. Chinese neighborhood, that's theirs.
They own their
They
businesses.
own those businesses.
Yes.
We're one of the very few communities where you are given an incentive to open a business in that community and not be from there.
We are only consuming.
This is why
And restricted if you are.
this
from
is
there.
why there's a Chinese restaurant in every neighborhood, but you've never seen a Chinese restaurant commercial.
Right.
Pass it to Sister Aaliyah.
Oh, caught me off guard. Yeah, I agree with what Steve said.
Brother Eric.
I mean, not only, I'm sorry, not only is it an incentive, however, no, not only is it incentive, but they also give incentive and they put the cameras in those buildings too. They put the facial recognition. You never walked into any of those and they all look the same. Every ceiling is the same. Every layout is the same.
It's a good observation.
Everything is the same because they have cameras there purposely for facial recognition. So it's always against us. And if we wanted to have a community like the Jewish community, we could do that. We could stand up and say, we don't want that in our neighborhood. We don't want that in our neighborhood. But like you just said, Keith, we don't do that.
What do you think will be the first steps towards that?
I don't know, brother. I mean, I really can't say. I've been trying to get a Trader Joe's on Nostrand Avenue, down on Nostrand and Montgomery for the longest time. But now it's an apartment building being built there.
Brother Steve.
I got a question, and because I always hear when people talk about the neighborhoods and they talk about like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. While these stores are deemed better supermarkets, they're also more pricey. So would it really work in our hood? Because case in point, in Brownsville, the reason why people will buy 4 sodas for $5 versus
affordable.
the organic apple juice, which is $13 a bottle, is because I got 4 kids I got to take care of. I got a husband, I got a wife. Everybody got to get something to drink. I only got X amount of money. So while it would be nice to have those, and if you do the research on that food, it's not that much healthier than what we're already consuming.
So you're thinking it would be counterproductive to waste our time getting healthier options.
I think it would set us up for false, like a false sense of neighborhood. Yeah, we have a Trader Joe's. Okay, but how many of us can actually eat out of there?
Another ideal
Well,
of symbolism.
Well, you can take that same space though and grow your own vegetation.
Speaking of, I've
Michelle
seen
Obama told us farming.
And they shut her down.
Brother James.
I forgot who said it, but this is an axiom that's proves true. History is your best reward for research. Every cause, there's an effect. And there's a root of everything, right? When you look at the history of America, you understand what I say?
I know what that is.
Cut.
It's always profitable off our backs. When you go to slavery, it started with tobacco. When they made enough money from tobacco, it was no use, it was the cotton. Now today, it's these weed spots in the neighborhood.
The
But first,
deception
like
of
I
the
said
game.
before, they set you up. They got to desensitize you. Because what was one of the famous movies, what's the brother's name? Red Man, what's his name?
How high?
How high?
Look at the movie How High. They said that when I was growing up, we used to always associate marijuana with the Jamaicans, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But my point is, it's always a programming. And then when they put it into action, people be like, yo, what is that? But whenever they put something out there, there's a plan that they're gonna have, man. But we don't prepare for it because we don't study. We don't learn from the past. So we repeat history again. So this is the modern day slavery to us. I was telling my Uncle Kenny, because he used to be a cop, right? I said, man, black people in America, we are the culture. Undisputed. Everybody in the world, they respond on everything that we do. But we don't recognize that. See, they, like Cat Williams said, they know who we are. They do.
I just wanted to piggyback off of this brother here, what he was saying about not knowing our history and how this is not new. There's a blueprint for everything that happens. Everything that's happened, everything that they've done, everything that we haven't learned from. Like he said, all we have to do is go back to our history
Read.
and read, because it's there. How to start, where to start, the mistakes we've made, what we should have learned from, and just how to at least put one foot in the door to where we can say, okay, they tried this, we tried this, they did that. We tried this, they did that. So we can start at least somewhere.
So we're not in the same spot as the year before.
I agree, yes.
Brother Eric?
Let's make it short. The abundance of smoke shops, I noticed when in New York City they legalized marijuana. I started seeing more and more and more. Some blocks you see 2 or 3 smoke shops on that one block with a dispensary. So the more smoke shops we have, and the crime is just rising. Now the smoke shops are getting ran up in. People are getting killed over a couple of dollars and over some weed. And these the little bottles of small alcohol and Viagra.
Wait, not yet.
Oh, that's the next. Yeah. Thought that was.
Okay, so let's get into
About
that.
to get into that too.
What do you guys takes on our corner stores selling small amounts of alcohol and Viagra?
It's proof that we're not reading. We're not paying attention. There was a story about the Fireball that they sell in the store. That's not even real alcohol. How many people saw it? How many people are still buying it? You know what I mean? Same thing with those honey packs. A lot of people don't even understand the concept of Viagra, where it came from. It was originally a heart medication. It was doing something to the workers. But they don't tell you the damage that it does to your body. So if that is going to do that, like anything that you create to substitute anything within your body is going to damage it within time. They need to put an age restriction on them if you're going to do it. Case in point, like they do with the cigarettes.
They put it right in our neighborhood.
Right. But they put it in our neighborhoods and the gas stations because You know,
I mean, they gotta switch it up though because this generation of young people aren't really into cigarettes like that.
And
no, it's all about sexual
Great
power.
point.
Giving them that
They have to
keep 'em
change the
stupid.
drugs for the new generation.
To
Yeah.
keep them stupid.
Yeah.
Sister
I-
Leah?
This
Sorry.
Well,
at the corner store.
I personally think that right now, at this time in this generation, people are having sex for sport, and not for the reason that sex was supposed to be about.
It's just cool now.
Now it's not like cool. It's just
Something
it's
to
in the
do in
radio, it's in
between.
the music, it's in our television, it's in our shows, it's everywhere.
Constantly promoted.
It's
to
constantly
us.
promoted,
Yeah, a female can tell you what
and
color,
you know,
what I'm
and
saying.
the black woman is always hypersexualized, always, no matter what time actually, or generation, we're always hypersexualized, and it's hard for me, you know, because I'm an Israelite, and my daughter, I'm like Method Man. I rock 3/4 cloth, never showing my stuff off, and it's hard for her because her friends are like, they like, why you always wearing skirts? Why you always covered? And so I think all that goes hand in alcohol, sex, Viagra. Come on.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
That's facts.
What's your take, Brother Prince?
I mean, I don't really. I'm not. What would you say? I'm looking for the right word here.
Against?
Sexually driven, so I don't really get into those things. I don't really know about it. You know what I mean? I didn't really know that they was something like. I mean, it's like.
What about the smaller amounts of alcohol?
I mean, every store sells alcohol, but like he said, like that fake synthetic alcohol.
Why are corner stores allowed
Yeah.
to sell alcohol?
I mean,
to
Poppy
us?
store always sell alcohol, bro. Poppy, you know what I'm saying?
Late nights, or like he said, age restrictions.
you
It
know what I
wasn't
mean?
sold to kids. They used, like you had to come get that at
There
a
was
certain
couple of stores I
time.
know where I
And
could
the
go give
smoke
me a
shop.
nice bottle of Henny after a couple hours. You know what I mean? There was always that store. But at the same time, where it's being geared to is the problem. And that's where the problem lies.
See, but that's the issue because we know about those stores,
And
we
we're
don't
not
do
doing
anything to
anything
close
about
them.
it.
You know what I mean? I know when I was growing up, there was a whole house you can go and buy liquor from on Pacific and Ralph.
Oh,
And then
I'm so mad right
like
now.
this, we don't hold ourselves accountable for things because it's convenient for us. Like Rand's liquor store, you didn't need an ID to cash a check.
Nope.
Everybody liked that.
And you got
Until
a
your
bottle of
check
liquor.
got stolen and someone cashed it there. Now you want to burn Rand's down? No. If we would have shut it down from the beginning, that wouldn't have been an issue.
Convenience.
That's a good yes.
What's your take, Sister Denise?
Oh,
It was
like
the
I said, it's the
bootleg
convenience
spot.
of it all. And once we find out exactly what we can do or teach each other or help each other learn how we can start to get petitions going. Who's the black person, the what do you call those people? The block watch people. To get those people involved and start there. Learn who your neighbors are. Start there.
So you think the community just needs to come together on all topics?
Yes.
Once
Yes.
again, unity.
Last topic, Brother Steve?
No, I was just gonna add to that something that the elder said earlier. First thing as a people, what we gotta realize is everybody can't go.
Everybody can't make it.
Everybody's not gonna go because everybody don't share the same mindset. You'll see something and see something wrong with it 5 years from now, and someone else will be like, "Oh, well, it's not hurting nobody." Y'all are two different tribes.
So we should only be focused on like-minded people.
Yes, that's the only way we're gonna
Like-minded individuals.
advance.
the only way.
Should we be doing more than just barbecuing at our social events? What is your take, Brother James?
Me as a Muslim, I don't really participate in a lot of holidays, but Juneteenth, we still not free.
No, I'm saying should we take that time to discuss how we can solve our own problems instead of just barbecuing on a day off?
Yeah, we should. We need to act because we've been partying too long. We've been programmed to party. The party's over. It's time to get the work done because it's a matter of survival, man. All these people coming to this country. Everybody got their own interests that they into. We the only people that's trying to latch on to everybody else
We don't have our own personal
without
interests.
dealing deep within ourselves.
What is your take on that, Sister Denise?
Well, as far as barbecues and social events on Juneteenth, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to celebrate it. If I'm not big on celebrating many holidays, but I think we should take that time to teach our people or our kids what it's about and why we have to celebrate this as opposed to July 4th. Tell them which holidays are ours and which aren't. Teach our kids. That's what I believe we should do for Juneteenth.
None of these holidays are ours.
Because everybody can have a barbecue, but you can still teach at that barbecue too, at that social event. Teach the kids. That's what I think.
Brother Steve?
I felt them making Juneteenth a holiday was the ultimate disrespect.
Big slap in the face.
Very much so.
Thank you.
We were asking for one thing, as this sister said before we
That's what I
started
said when she
recording.
first said it.
But more than that, look at what you're celebrating. You're celebrating the fact that this country was so foul to us that we had people that were still enslaved for 2 whole years.
And didn't
That's
even
what we're
know.
celebrating. And now we're celebrating it in a way where the ancestors of our oppressors are also celebrating and getting a paid day off. Are you kidding me?
Serious?
I'm not going to tell you what I think we should do on June 19th because then BCAT ain't going to air this. But no, it was a very big slap in the. To me, it was almost as big as a slap in the face as them putting Black Lives Matter on the street, where cars can run over it and it's not held down too long, pristine the way it should be. All you gotta do is look at the one that was on Fulton Street.
That's it.
Very disrespectful.
From the restoration.
Vandalized several times.
Brother Prince?
I'm not really big on anything like anything somebody created. Like it's just like, hey, take this.
You don't like symbolism?
No, not at all. You know what I mean? So it's like we barbecue and have picnics and do all of that every day. So it's like it's any day in the summertime is a hot day in some grass. You got people barbecuing. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, this is that should be our every day. Every day should be our Juneteenth. Every day should be our teaching day. Every day. You know what I mean? That should just be specified to one day because it's easier to overlook when it's pushed to one day.
So we shouldn't be waiting for one day to teach ourselves. We just constantly do it throughout the year.
Indeed. Every day is Black History. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. Brother Eric?
She said it, he said it. I'm gonna say this part. Okay, yeah, we can have a barbecue on Juneteenth, but here they come. Oh, y'all gotta shut this down at 6 o'clock. It's over. Guess what? They leave. You don't shut it down. What's the next step? It's where's the freedom at? That's all I gotta say about the Juneteenth. All right. I ain't feeling that.
Last but not least, Sister Aaliyah?
Well, I mean, like the brother said, I said already, as soon as everybody started getting up in arms of Asians and COVID came, what happened the next day? Oh my gosh, Asian hate bill. That's crazy. So we were asking for our hate bill way before that. And they said, no, we're going to give you Juneteenth, okay? That should be good, right?
And we're
You're good
gonna
for that. You're
control
good
that
for
too.
that. And that's like, no. We want the actual hate bill. That's what we want. And we want it passed. See, those are one of the things that we come together as a unify on, and then as a collective say, we're not going to vote for you unless you pass this bill. You're not going to get our vote unless you get this for us. These are one of our demands. And I believe it's, I can't remember the brother who had said that. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But he had made that same statement. And that's my, I don't celebrate holidays or anything here anyway. I don't do Thanksgiving, I don't do Christmas, I don't do any of those things, Easter, none of that stuff.
What
right?
I do, I
So-
celebrate my family.
That's it.
Point blank period. I celebrate my family. But I know the world that we live in. And I know that my children, until they get to an age where they can actually really comprehend it, I have to give them some form image of it.
You must guide them.
So I give them Christmas. But guess what? We get Kwanzaa too.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? You get this big meal on Thanksgiving and you understand what really happened on this day. Why we don't go out the house on Black Friday and we don't spend a dime. It's ways like 4th of July. I'll grill, we'll go out, but I let them know we're not celebrating the fanfare that they're doing. This was a day Dad had off, Mom said we was going out, and we going out.
Not about the red, white, and blue.
Nah, could never be.
We ain't wearing red.
No one way we celebrate when they cut the check.
What check are you speaking about?
That
Brother
reparations
James?
check.
So, should we be using Juneteenth to speak about how to get our reparations?
We should be speaking about every day
Every
to get
day.
our reparations. This lady just gave the Jewish community $186 million.
What lady is that?
Governor Holcomb. Now, our people went over there and fought for them to get liberation. Look up the story about the Black Panthers. It was a regiment that went over there during World War II that helped liberate. And the man, what's his name, Marvel Comic, he was inspired by that.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, the Black Panther movie. It was the actual military regiment in World War II.
But see, if you go into the comic books thing, you know Stan Lee and Marvel has always been in culture. X-Men was, the whole
Martin
concept
Luther
of
King
X-Men
and
was
Malcolm
behind
X.
racism and culture. Malcolm X and
Martin Luther King.
Was Magneto and Professor X. You know what I'm saying? Beast was supposed to be how they visualize the black man. No matter how smart he is, they see him as an animal. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there are things that we have in our arsenal. We just don't know how to use them
And when we try to use them, what happens?
because it's not enough of us getting together to use it. Like with Juneteenth,
Cramp hands.
like with Juneteenth, if it would have went viral that we wasn't feeling it, versus it going viral of everybody cooking out and having Juneteenth events and Juneteenth T-shirts and Juneteenth jewelry, which all goes to who? We don't make nothing in Taiwan. So it's just like one of the things that, and I know I'm not the only one who saw it. Around the same time when we was asking for all of these things, we spoke about the disparity of us in film. So now what did they do? Oh, they put us in film. But we all got a white husband or an Asian wife or with a gay friend.
Some interracial type thing.
Yeah, it's still not us. But it's enough for us to not be mad anymore. Look at the NFL.
More symbolism.
Look at the NFL. They went full on with, end of racism on the back of the helmet. As soon as the season was over, all that stuff gone.
Gone.
Because we don't stay mad long enough.
Yeah, end of racism when I see a black owner.
And even then, because he probably don't, all skin folk ain't
That's what
kinfolk.
they do. The depression is so long and so deep, they throw a little sprinkle of diamond salt. Oh, they be all right for a few minutes, and as soon as the salt dissolves, we right back, like you said, we right back to square one again.
I just want to say this and I'll be done. It's a good way to recognize our ancestors and all the things that we are here because people made it. Just say that. We are here.
What do you mean by that?
Our ancestors.
Our ancestors. Somebody in your family made it. They got off that boat. They made it. They made it through Jim Crow. They made it. They made it through civil rights. They made it. So here you are now. Here I am now. Here he is. Here she is. Here we are.
But
So
that's a conversation
So we can
that we need to
really
have.
we can
Absolutely.
really celebrate that.
But that's
Celebrate
a
our
conversation we
history
need to have
and our ancestors.
because they don't have that. Like, case in point, one of the biggest arguments I had with the movie Black Panther was when he made the reference to the ancestors who jumped. And people, yeah. Think about it. If all of our ancestors would have jumped, where would we be?
Maybe.
So, come on. It's like when you're dating someone, you go, I wish I never met you. That's a lie, because then the children and everything that came behind it is gone.
Right.
Right.
You know, like, I'm sorry, I just thought about that when you
No.
wrote that. But you didn't give your opinion on nothing.
Ah, shit, you're right.
He's the
The host.
moderator. He's the host.
Well,
The host is with the most.
my bottom line opinion on anything, no matter what we do, as long as we do it together, we'll stop all the symbolism.
Fact.
We'll stop the enemy from infiltrating us. As long as we do it together, we can go far.
So
Amen.
let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think some of the enemies look like us?
Of course.
Absolutely.
They will pay one of us to kill one of us just to say it was one of us.
There
That's
you go.
that's from the beginning of time.
You know who the one of us
Absolutely.
is?
That's even happened
The
in the
so-called
Bible.
Congressional Black Caucus. That's the number one enemy.
We're going to save these topics for the next episode.
Oh,
I appreciate all you guys for being here with me,
Thanks for
giving your
having
thoughts
us.
on these topics that we need to express in our neighborhoods. Thank you so much for tuning in at home. This was From Time to Time. I would like to thank AC Prince, Aaliyah, Yasmin, James Williams, Denise Tillman, Eric McCants, Stephen Williams. Until next time.
yeah.
Oh, you on PBS?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Dopeness.